Hello students, I am Dr. Krupa Rasne, Professor and Head ENC Department, Jain College of Engineering, Belgavi. So let us continue with the fifth video of Module 1, and basically it is the chapter 13 of the same textbook of Rashid. So here we have seen chapter 1 earlier. Now we are looking into chapter 13, and in this we will be following the same textbook. And what I prefer to do in this chapter 13 is basically power transistors, power BJT, steady state characteristics, and also the switching characteristics. The other two, MOSFET and IGBT, will look into the next class, followed by di by dt and dv by dt limitation. So coming to power transistors, we know it's a device that can control both the turn on and turn off characteristics, because the device are used as a switching device and it is operating in the saturation region, resulting in a low on state voltage drop. They are turned on when a current signal is given to base or control terminal. The transistor remains on so long as the control signal is present. We know that we apply the base, control signal, which will control the collector emitter current. So the switching speed of modern transistor is much higher than that of thyristors and are used extensively in DC to DC and DC to AC converters. So whenever you are asked to compare a transistor with thyristor, remember the transistors have higher switching speed than that of the thyristors. However, their voltage and current ratings are lower than those of thyristors and are therefore used in low to medium power applications. So power transistors are classified as follows: bipolar junction transistors, metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistors, MOSFETs, insulated gate bipolar transistors, IGBT. Okay, and also SIT is there, but in your syllabus we'll be covering these three more in detail. So bipolar junction transistors, the need for a large blocking voltage in the off state and a high current carrying capability in the on state means that a power BJT must have substantially different structure than its small signal equivalent. So in power electronics, the requirement is the device should be acting like a switch on and off with a high speed, low voltage on state drop, and also it should have a high current carrying capability. So in order to use a transistor as a switch, the earlier low power transistor had to be reconstructed in order to satisfy the requirements of power electronics. The modified structure leads to significant differences in the VI characteristics and the switching behavior between power transistor and its logic level counterparts. Now this is the steady state characteristics. I am sure you people have already done it in the lower semesters, and the first one is basically your CE configuration. We know a transistor can be connected either in CC, common collector, common base or common emitter configuration, but in as a switch, when I am using a transistor as a switch, I will be using it as a common emitter because its characteristics as a common emitter, the advantages are more useful than the other two configurations. So whenever I'm using a transistor as a switch, I normally use the common emitter configuration. So here what you see in the circuit diagram, this is an NPN transistor, right? And this is basically a circuit diagram used as a transistor as a switch. So we can see the base forms the input, and I give a base voltage here which I call it as VB, and this is the base emitter voltage that will come across this transistor, and this is the base current, right? And we have got the collector current which is sourced from VCC, which is connected to the collector current. So the collector current will flow through the RC, and when it is turned on, the current will flow through IE. So the voltage drop across collector and emitter is VCE. So here is basically the steady state characteristics. We have different types. One is the input characteristics, the other is output, and the third is the transfer characteristics. Looking at the input characteristics, I input means this is the input side and this is the output side. So obviously when I am drawing the input characteristics, I am drawing the input current versus the input voltage, right? So it is IB versus IBE. Now if you see, this transistor is a three-layer device and this particular transistor is N here at the collector, P is the base and N is the emitter. So if you see the input side, the base emitter is nothing but the PN diode. So if I draw the characteristics of between IB and VB, it is going to resemble your diode characteristics. So if you see here for different VCE values, as I go on changing this VCE by varying VCC, I can get multiple graphs, but they are all similar to a diode. That is, it will not conduct for some time, right? And after some time, the current increases as the applied forward bias junction increases. This is basically the output characteristics, right? So that is basically drawn for the right hand side of the circuit. So it is IC versus VCE, right? IC versus VCE, current that is flowing. And we see there are three regions here. One is the cutoff region, the saturation region and the active region. And the controlling element in this case will be the current, input current IB. So we have discussed earlier also that for different IB current increases, I will be getting these different graphs. Now basically I will distinguish between three regions, that is saturation region. In saturation region you will see that the current parameter is very high, whereas the voltage is very less. In cutoff region you will have the output voltage very high, whereas the current is very small. Okay, and we are going to use this transistor either in saturation region, that is when the transistor is on, in which case the collector current will flow, okay, high current will flow, and off condition, that is when no collector current will flow, in which case VCE will be very high. In saturation, VCE will be very low. So this is basically the steady state characteristics, and we should remember one thing here. If I'm using an NPN, this can be replaced with a PNP as well, except the base current now will be negative if I want to turn it on. Let us stick with this configuration NPN transistor. Since it is a three-layer device, there are two junctions, right? One is the base emitter junction and the other is the collector base junction. Okay, and depending upon how the bias or voltage is applied, whether these two junctions are forward biased or reverse biased, the transistor is said to fall in any one of the three regions. Okay, so normally when you are in saturation, both the junctions, that is base emitter junction as well as collector base junction, will be forward biased. In the cutoff region, both the junctions will be reverse biased, that is base emitter and collector base will be reverse biased. And in the active region, you will have base emitter junction in forward bias condition, whereas collector base junction will be in reverse biased condition. Okay, so this is the steady state characteristics for you. The equations are clear to you. So IE equal to IC plus IB. I am sure this is clear. IE equal to IC plus IB. Beta is equal to IC by IB. So IC becomes equal to a beta IB plus ICEO. And then we are taking this equation IE equal to IC plus IB. Once I'll substitute IC as equal to beta times IB and I will get this equation, and also substitute IC as beta IB plus ICEO, and if I do that I will get this IE equal to IB plus 1 IB into 1 plus beta. And next I will substitute for IB, that is IB I will make equal to IC upon IB, and this equation I will get. Okay, so these two equations I can use, and alpha equal to IC by IE, this we know. I'll get a relation between alpha and beta, where alpha is beta upon beta plus 1 and beta is alpha upon 1 minus alpha. This is your transistor steady state characteristics. So when I use it as a switch, you have to remember that the transistor has to move from the cutoff region as off state to on state, that is the saturation region. So for that, we should also come look into certain equations. So if you look at this transistor as a switch, we have these equations. So if you see this particular KVL law, IB is equal to VB minus VBE divided by RB. So I get this first equation. And similarly at the output, I will get VC. VC means nothing but VCE here, which is equal to this voltage VCC minus the drop in the resistance ICRC. So VCE becomes equal to, that is this voltage becomes equal to this voltage minus this voltage, that is VCC minus ICRC. Okay. Next, I will substitute basically for IC here. So VCC remains as it is minus beta times IB. IB is VB minus VBE upon RB. So beta times IB is VB minus VB upon RB into this RC. Okay, so I will get an so this is your VC equation, that is VCE equation. And we also know that VCE is equal to this voltage drop plus this voltage drop. What is this voltage? This is VCB, collector base junction plus base emitter junction. That will become equal to VCE. So I have one more equation, VC equal to VCB plus VBE. And hence, if I look at VCB, take on the left hand side, I will get an important equation, VCB equal to VCE minus VBE. And depending upon what this collector base emitter junction, remember that this is an NPN transistor, so this is N, P and N. So when I say VCB is positive, this junction, collector base junction, is reverse biased because this is N and this is P. So N is connected to positive, P is connected. So when I say VCB is positive, the collector base junction will be reverse biased. Okay, and vice versa. If I say collector base junction is negative, the collector base junction becomes positive. So let us look further. So equation 1, what you see here, the last equation, shows that as long as VCE is greater than VBE. So there are different ways I can explain this. As long as this term is greater than this term, and this is subtraction, right? So VCB is always going to be positive, right? If VCB is positive, the collector base junction is going to be reverse biased. Remember that. The collector base junction is reverse biased and the transistor is in the active region. Next, the maximum collector current in the active region, which is obtained by setting VCB equal to 0 and VBE equal to VCE, is given as ICM equal to VCC minus VC. We know IC equal to VCC minus ICRC dot divided by okay. So VCC minus VCE here divided by RC, that will give you IC. Okay, what is ICM? ICM is obtained. See, what happens is, as I go on increasing the base current, the VBE also goes on increasing. And a point will come when VBE becomes equal to VCE. And that is the point when this is equal to this. Hence, VCB is going to become 0. Means this base emitter junction will not be having any bias. Okay, and there's a free flow of current through the collector, and that is the collector current, that is the maximum collector current it is given. So that state happens when VCB is 0 and VB is equal to VCE. And when collector current is maximum, there is a corresponding base current which is there, right? So the base current at that time can be written as IB equal to ICM upon beta F. because we know beta is equal to IC by IB. So if this is ICM, this has to be IBM that time, and we call that as beta F. That is the beta factor that is there. So coming here, if the base current is increased above IBM, now if I increase beyond IBM, right, what happens? The VBE increases, the base emitter current, base emitter voltage increases, the collector current increases, and the VCE falls below VBE. VCE falls below VBE, means VCB becomes negative. This continues. If VCB becomes negative, the base emitter collector base junction is forward biased with VBC about 0.4 to 0.5, and the transistor will go into saturation. So in saturation you will see base emitter junction is also forward biased and collector base junction is also forward biased. So the transistor saturation may be defined as a point above which any increase in the base current does not increase the collector current significantly. Okay. So beyond, once it goes to saturation, if I try to increase the base current further, there is no significant increase in the collector current. So there is no really point to increase. But yet after I go, that is beyond ICS, I try to increase further, but increasing the base current to ensure that it remains in the saturation. Okay. So in saturation, the collector current remains almost constant if the collector emitter voltage is VCE sat, and when it is in saturation, we call that collector emitter voltage drop as VCE sat. The collector current then can be written as, right, it is in saturation, so collector current will be written as ICS equal to VCC minus VCE sat upon RC, because the drop across VC is now VC sat and the current flowing through the collector is IC. The corresponding, that is, there is a corresponding base current, right? When collector ICS is flowing, there is a base current flowing, we call it as IBS. It can be given as ICS upon beta. So normally the circuit is designed so that IB is higher than IBS. That is, I go into hard saturation. So IB is sufficient, let's say, to make the transistor go into saturation. But I should not stop there. Give little more push, give little more current beyond IB, okay, and which is higher than IBS. That is the saturation current, and then the ratio of IB to IBS is called as overdrive factor. So there is one more term now introduced, overdrive factor, which is called as a ratio of IB upon IBS. So overdrive factor is IB. IB is what? IB is greater than IBS. Remember that. Sorry, IB, yeah, IB is greater than IBS. So this term will be greater than 1. The ratio of ICS to IB. Now IB is more than IBS, as I said, okay. But collector current will be in the saturation only, it will not increase much. Hence ICS upon IB, there is a new term, we call it as forced beta. So forced beta is ICS, the collector current in saturation, divided by the extra base current that we are giving beyond the saturation IBS. So IB, so ICS upon IB. And the total power loss, power loss is nothing but the loss across the two junctions, and we will say PT equal to voltage drop VBE into IB plus VCE into IC. So the two junctions, the two collector, the voltages of the two junctions and the corresponding currents flowing through them, that will contribute to the power loss. So ODF, the higher value of ODF cannot reduce the CE voltage significantly. You should remember one thing, yes, if I give IBS as the in base current, it will go into saturation. But to ensure that it remains in the saturation so that the switch will remain on, I give an extra base current, which IB, which is greater than IBS. But remember, that means the overdrive factor I am doing. But increasing that overdrive factor, you will not increase further the saturation current. So you should remember this. However, VBE increases, that is at the input, increases due to increased base current. But since I am giving IB greater than IBS, the base emitter voltage is going to increase, and that will increase the power loss. So there is a disadvantage in trying to increase the base current beyond IBS, but at the same time we have to have this advantage, that is make IB slightly greater than IBS, hence contributing to overdrive factor that will ensure that the transistor will remain in the on state. Once the transistor is saturated, the CE voltage is not reduced in relation to increase in the base current. So there is no point simply go on increasing the overdrive factor. However, the power is increased at high value of ODF. The transistor may be damaged due to thermal runaway. So what happens is higher overdrive factor will contribute to power loss, and that is because VBE increases, right, with more base current. So when you are calculating the power with overdrive factor, you should calculate the power with respect to the extra base current and not the saturation base current. On the other hand, if the transistor is underdriven, that is the base current is less than the saturation current, it may operate in the active region, right? And hence we see increases resulting in increased power loss. Again, in active region there is more power loss than in the saturation region. Now these are the formulas I wanted you to have a look at, and see, we have, please go through these formulas because I want you to do some problems or note it down somewhere. Take a pen and pencil and note it down. So IE equal to IC plus IB, beta is equal to IC upon IB, IC equal to alpha times IE, alpha is beta upon beta plus 1, beta is alpha upon 1 minus alpha, IB is VB minus VBE divided by RB. This is at the input of the transistor switch. Then RB, if I take on top, I will get VB minus VB sat divided by IB. And then ICS is equal to VCC minus VC sat upon RC. IBS equal to ICS upon beta minimum. Normally in problems you will be given a range for beta. So when you are taking both saturation values, you can take the beta, that is minimum value of beta. Then overdrive factor IB equal to ODF into IBS, and beta F equal to ICS upon IB. And PT is equal to overall power is equal to VBE plus IB plus VCE into IC. So these are your formulas that you should use whenever a problem is given to you. Okay. Let us look at the first problem. The BJT is specified to have a range of 8 to 40. The load resistance is RC equal to 11 ohms, right? So please follow this circuit also when you are reading. And we have got beta, which is 8 to 40. And load resistance RC is 11 kilo ohms. The DC supply voltage is 200 and input voltage base is 10. If VCE sat in saturation, it is 1 volt. That time VBE sat is 1.5 volts. What you are supposed to do is find the value of RB that results in saturation with an overdrive factor of 5. ODF is 5. Second, you have to find the forced beta. And third, you have to find the power loss PT in the transistor. So this is the problem given to you, and hence if I have to find RB, which formula you are going to use, and then in that formula whether all the parameters values are known to you, and if not, then how do we go about solving those unknown parameters, find those unknown parameters and again put it in the formula that you know to get the answer, right? So here you can see that I should have gone step by step, but here you can see that I'm asked to find the value of RB. Okay, so RB is VB minus VBE sat upon IB. Now from these values, I know VB is given as 10, VBE sat is given as 1.5, but IB is not given to me. So to find IB, I use this formula. What is IB? VB minus VBE upon SAT into RB, right? Sorry, this formula I'm using for RB, but to find IB, I know the overdrive factor is given to you into IBS. Again, you will note that I know ODF, but I do not know IBS. To find IBS, ODF is given as 5. IBS, again I use this formula. That is IBS equal to ICS upon beta minimum, right? Beta minimum you take as 8. ICS again I do not know. So to find ICS, I use this formula VCC minus VCE sat upon RC. So I know VCC is 200 minus VCE sat is 1 and RC is 11. And if I calculate this, I'll get ICS as 18.1 amperes. Substitute ICS as 18.1 divided by beta minimum. They have given you the range is 8 and this will be equal to 2.265 amperes. So I get IBS. Once I get IBS, I'll substitute it in this. So 5 into IBS, I should be getting this value. Once I know IB, right? Once I know the IB, I can substitute this value here and get the answer for RB. So this is the way you should remember all the formulas and try to substitute and get back the values. Okay, so we got the part A of the problem. RB equal to 0.715. Please work it out in your book. Next is B. B is beta F. The forced beta is asked. What is the formula for forced beta? ICS upon IB. IB is the value which is more than IBS, right? You have just calculated here and hence you will use that, and ICS also you have calculated and you will get 1.6 as beta. Next they have asked you to find the total power dissipation, which is nothing but the junction powers, summation of junction powers, that is VBE IB plus VCE IC. So VBE, if you see, it is 1.5 given to you. IB, don't take IBS. Whenever there is an overdrive factor, right, IBS is 2.2 only, but actually we are using the current of IB, that is 11.315. So take VBE and IB, which is the actual current, base current, plus VCE is 1.0 and IC we have taken as ICS only, that is 18.1. If you solve that, you should get around 35 watts. So I hope this problem is very clear to you. So such type of problems will be asked in the examination. Basically to find overdrive factor. So the overdrive factor is IB upon IBS here, right? IB I do not know and IBS also I do not know. To find IB, I will use this formula VB minus VB sat upon RB. I know VB, I know VB sat, okay, and RB is also given to you. So I can calculate IB. Then to calculate IBS, use this beta minimum, right? So that is equal to ICS upon beta minimum. So ICS I don't know, but beta minimum is 12. Calculate ICS using VCC minus VC sat upon RC. So we know VCC is 40 minus VC sat is 1.2 divided by RC is given as 1.5. Solve it, I get 25.86. Substitute ICS here, I will get IBS here. And once I know IBS, right, I can use that IBS value here. So I know IB, I know IBS, I can get the overdrive factor as 2.93. Next B is forced beta, that is ICS upon IB. Okay, ICS we have calculated as 25.86 and IB we have calculated as 6.28, and you should get 4 the answer. Now coming to power dissipation, so it is the VB IB plus VC IC. VB is given as 1.6, IB is nothing but 6.28. Don't take IBS here. Next plus 1.2 into 25.86, and you should get this power dissipation 41.032 watts. Okay. The first one is to calculate the forced beta. So forced beta is basically, first write down the known formula, ICS upon IB. Now IB is 11.33, that can be got with VB minus VB sat upon RB, and we know IBB, VB is sat, so I can get IB. Okay. ICS I can get using VCC minus VC sat by RC. All parameters are known. I'll get this answer 18.09. Then for forced beta I need, yeah, I got this, and also I can calculate IBS. Maybe I will require it for overdrive factor as ICS upon beta minimum, and I will get this value. ICS I got here, beta minimum is given in the problem, I got it here. So overdrive factor is IB upon IBS, so that is equal to 11.33, yeah, IB upon IBS. IBS is 2.26, I should get this. The power dissipation is VBE into IB, right, plus VCE into IC. So you should get 35.8085 watts. So this is another problem. There will be multiple such problems, and I will be giving you to solve also on your own. Waveforms. So we know input is going to be 0 to 5 volts. So that is the base voltage. Okay. So pulse is being drawn from 0 to 5. This is the collector current. Collector current is the current that will flow through the transistor. And this is basically the inductor current, which is just above this point, relay coil, which is nothing but an inductor. So what you will see is when the input pulse at the input from 0 it will go to zero point 0.5 volts, right? So we expect collector current to follow the base current. But because this is an inductor, the inductor has the property to oppose any change of current through it. So though the collector current wants to respond to IB immediately, the inductor will not allow it to respond immediately, right? Because we know inductor VL is equal to L into di by dt, and at this point when the voltage is going from 0 to 5, the di by dt is very high. Because of that, a voltage will occur here that will limit the actual current that is supposed to increase through the collector. So because of that coil, instead of increasing vertically like this, you will be getting a slope, and the slope depends on the time constant L upon RL. L is the inductor value and R is the series resistance. So how much this slope should be depends upon the time constant tau equal to L by R. Okay. Now the same current when the transistor is said to be on, right? When it comes here, it is said to be on. So the inductor current will flow through the collector current. So the waveform at the inductor and collector current will be both same. Slope will be there for both. Now once the steady state is achieved, right? So what is VL equal to L into di by dt? Di by dt is 0 because now it is steady state, right? So the voltage drop here will be very less or 0, and you will also maintain the same current flow. There is no opposition by the inductor, and the same current is flowing through both inductor and the collector current. And once this slope goes below, again di by dt factor comes in. So the inductor basically doesn't turn off immediately, and it will take a turn off time tau equal to L by RL plus RF, where RF is the forward bias diode. So what happens is the inductor current will freewheel whatever is the stored voltage here. Because the transistor becomes off at this point, the the voltage what is stored here, it will free wheel through the diode. So you will get an extra falling current, whereas for this transistor the collector current becomes off because the base has made it off by itself. So this is the waveform that we have. Now let us look at how to solve it. Next is ICS. What is the ICS value and what is the RB value? So for that, the sketch and explanation is given here. I'll not repeat it. So ICS will be equal to VCC minus VCE SAT divided by RC. VCC is 24 minus 0.22 divided by 200. It is 0.119 amperes. Okay. And next value of RB is IBS equal to. So you'll know RB is this formula, right? The value of 5 and VBE SAT is given. IB I don't know. I will try to get it from overdrive factor. Overdrive factor is given as 2 and IBS I have to calculate using beta minimum. So beta minimum ICS upon beta minimum. ICS I do not know. I will calculate using this particular formula. So these values are known. I substitute back. I get IBS. From IBS I will get IB. Once I get IB, I can calculate RB. So the value of RB is 450 ohms. And the third part they have asked is for the power dissipation. So we will put all the formulas and get the power dissipation value, that is coming as 6.68 watts. So let me stop here and thank you for your patient listening. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask me on personal or WhatsApp.